Hello, boys.
Hello.
How's that?
Hello, how are you? Can I just ask a quick favor from all three of you?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
one by one, can you introduce yourselves so I can adjust your audio?
Uh,
I start, I'm the first on the list.
Yeah, please.
So, hello, I'm Alexis Remington. For those who don't know me, I'm basically the community manager for Post Scriptum Bloody Fall Chapter Red mod. And yeah, I'm basically the community manager.
Perfect, man. I got you dialed in. Lieutenant, if you want to go next.
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Sakharok, Vadim Parfenov, my real name. I'm lead of the Chapter Red team, Redland Collective, to be correct. Um, that's all.
I'm Wixo. I'm the animator on Chapter Red. I'm doing the weapon stuff and animation.
I think we're all good, guys. Thank you. Chat, are we good? Can you hear them all? I think we're good, boys. Firstly, thank you all for joining me. I know it's pretty big. Where do you guys live, by the way? Are you from Russia? Whereabouts in the world are you guys?
Well, France for me.
Yeah, friends too for me.
I'm from Moscow, Russia.
Okay. I'll try keep it short then, so we're not here too long. The last interview I did went on for nearly 3 hours, so I'll try cut it down to about an hour.
Okay, great.
So it's pretty. I'm going to start off with a pretty basic question. For those who aren't aware what this mod is, there are still people learning about the mods coming up in Post Scriptum. Can you explain what Chapter Red is?
I can say we plan to tell untold stories of Eastern Front. That's not generic uh, battles like Stalingrad or Moscow battle. That's more about interesting but forgotten battles like Manchuria, like Vienna, like Kalinin at first chapter we planned.
Awesome. Does anyone have anything to add to that?
Oh, I
Guys,
think
Perfect. Then continue with a question for those who have just learned about what this mod is. Who is the team behind Chapter Red? Can you explain everyone's roles and how many people are involved?
for how many people, I think Lieutenant can answer better than me because it's kind of changing, a lot of turnover here. But yeah, we are Redland Collective. We are a small team, I'd say, that created 1 year ago, nearly exactly, as it's for this live is basically for our first anniversary. And yeah, our project was to do a mod on Eastern Front, and 1 year later, here we are. So I let Lieutenant or Wixo answer because they were there before me. They created basically the collective, so they can answer better than me about how many people worked on this.
Right,
I think
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
we have something like 12 people active working on mod. We have more people sometimes, sometimes lower people. Sorry, my English is pretty bad. I'm sorry.
You're doing great, man. You're doing great. Don't worry.
But we have many professional people with real little time to make work at mod, because many our guys work at studios, all or fighting work at studios. So we have a huge collective for mod, but we have a really little time to work on it.
I understand. It's good to hear that, though. There's actual professionals working behind this mod. I'm sure that gives a lot of people encouraged, knowing that it's going to be a great product when it comes out. I mean, Periscope themselves started as only just modders from different modding teams that came together to form their studio. So it sounds like you've got something similar to them. Obviously, you're all working full time, and this is basically a hobby at this point for you guys. I imagine it's not something you're getting paid for.
Yeah, we are not paid, so for most of us it's a hobby, it's a project, and for us, some of us are students as well, like me. So we basically kind of this project is something to launch or show what we can do. by ourselves, and it's kind of an adventure, I'd say, at least for me.
Yeah, I imagine. Sorry, was someone else going to add to that?
Yeah, to be fair, I started the project. I had no knowledge of modeling or animation, and 1 year after now, I can animate pretty easily. So if everyone just is, I don't know, thinking about making some mods, just go ahead and do it. That's
Yeah, that's funny story. So some guys from our team after work at Mode go to the studios. That's interesting. Like Balas who make a uniform, guys who take your soul, and PPD and Gas AA. He now work at studio, but before that he work at factory.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So, advice to anyone who is looking to get in game design, then really would be start out modding, and that can open doors to studios where you can do it full time. That's pretty cool. Congratulations to those guys as well. That sounds pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
it's clearly something you can do. Even me as a community manager, it's not something I did before. It's what I want to do later as a job, as a full-time job. But well, when they came to me and say, "Hey, we need a community manager for a mod. Do you want to? Are you in?" And I was like, "I'm still a student, but okay." And well, I think considering the mod today, I think we did a pretty good job together.
Okay. I think that gives a good overview of what Chapter Red is going to be then and who's behind it. So let's start moving into the nitty gritty. I think the first thing I've had people asking me about is the maps. Everyone loves new contents, maps especially. They always get like a community hyped. Can you give us some more details on the kind of maps we can expect and how they might play out? For example, are they going to be urban, forest, open, stuff like that?
Yeah, so the map at the moment, just to precise it straightforward, it's the part we are still working on, like level design, because it's we needed level designer for a while.
Yeah, for to be honest, that's main problem for now. Cause
Yeah,
if we talk about Soviet faction, it's already like 90% done.
Oh,
Something don't have textures, something need animations, but it's already done. So all models, most of textures, yes. But with maps, we have problems with our level designers because they sometimes one our old level designer leave, another guy works slow, another guy don't have experience. So if you know how work in Unreal Engine 4 and know how to do maps, we are waiting for you.
there.
yeah,
If someone watching,
we are hiring level designers as well. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
I
yeah.
think Chris. Shit, my button is bugging a bit. Sorry. I think Chris Mo joined us, or is joining us soon. He did Sainte-Marie-du-Mont map, so we hope we will go faster on level design. But on what people can expect as first map for Kalinin, the environment will be mostly urban, so not really adapted for armored gameplay. So don't expect to have armored on the first map. I'll be clear on that for
Uh,
2 reasons.
Soviet armor. Germans
Yeah,
have armor. Yeah.
Germans will be here,
Oh,
but for 2 reasons. The first one is the map. It was actually like that in October 1941. So the map Soviet won't have tanks here for the first map. On gameplay, I think people won't bother a lot because like we know how it's hard on urban areas for tanks. And the second reason is you probably know the armor overall is coming soon. And
yeah.
basically what we understood is devs are literally rebuilding the thing from scratch. So everything that we know won't work anymore.
Oh,
So
oh,
whatever we'll do on our models, whatever we'll prepare will be erased shortly before or shortly after the release, depending on when we release, on when the armored overall released. So it's basically spending time on something that we're not sure it will work. So it's a choice we made, but we feel it's the right way to deliver the mod fun and playable on time. You will have German armored anyway, and it's realistic because in October 1941 there wasn't that many tanks, Soviet tanks in Kalinin when the German arrived.
Yeah. And Kalinin town, that's
Sounds
not
good, yeah.
typical European town. That's no, that's Russian town, and that's more suburbs. Yes, I don't sure that's right word. Yes, suburbs. That's like town.
Suburbs.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I mean. That's most part of town. That's suburbs. Yes, and town center is huge buildings, but most of town that's factories, that's train station and suburbs, and that's much more different gameplay than we already have in Post Scriptum, because that's uh, I don't know. I think we don't see really real Russian towns in games. Maybe
True.
only on strategies. So that's really interesting landscape, really interesting buildings, and really interesting map design. So I want to never mind. I think that's be a cool map if we find level designer.
Yeah. So yeah, basically that's what we need right now because, as I said, the faction is mostly done and worked. And
Wow.
for tanks, don't worry, guys, for those tankers. I know there is a lot of armored player around here. We for the second map, which is the Battle of Mednoe, it will be a map designed for armored gameplay, more like drill. The drill map that a lot love of Chapter 1, which is about more open field, better for tank gameplay. So I think people will like this one. It's kind of a compensation, let's say it. But yeah,
Yeah.
we want to do a map for infantry gameplay and one for more for armored gameplay.
I mean, that makes sense. It's nothing new as well because we've got Arnhem where the British don't have tanks but the Germans do, for example. So I'm sure the players would be fine by that. I know I would if it's historical. I'm down with that as well. One question someone asked that I'm going to snipe from chat is, what kind of size are we looking at for your maps?
Four at 4 and 4 kilometers. I don't know how to say that right, but 4
Yeah, 4 by
kilometers
4.
is.
Yeah, that makes sense. 4x4 kilometers. Okay.
To give you an idea, I think the Chapter 1 first map are 4 by 4. Like Ilsum, Mostobik, I think it's 4 by 4.
Yeah.
If I'm right, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I believe most chapter ones are all about 4x4, aside from things like Best and Velmoen. But yeah, so basically the same as we expect already from the other maps. So that's great. I've got the roadmap that you sent me, the 2021 roadmap. Can I show that? Are you fine with me showing that right now?
Yeah, of course, go ahead.
Okay, chat. There you go. Chat, you see it? Right, so we've got the 2020 roadmap up, and you've mentioned a little bit of what you plan for June and then summer. Let's talk about the Liberation. What can we expect from that? Because there's some interesting things on that roadmap.
So as you see, Liberation, there is a pic, which is an actual pic we published a few weeks ago of the Kalinin Palace, which is already done, at least on its first iteration. So it will be a winter map. It will be a winter map, so expect snow. Expect this time tanks on both sides because it will be the Liberation. So this time the Red Army had armored section, and yeah, I think it's where the PPSH will also come. I think our leader will confirm that. And yeah, flamethrower tank, it's still on the roadmap because it's what we want to do. But as we were discussing a bit before this live, flamethrower are a kind of weird thing because we want to add it. At the same time, we all know that flamethrower is more like a FPS throw at the moment. I
Yeah.
think Snazzy showed us a bit what it gave on their end when they tried on a live we did with the other modders. So we would love to add it. We will see if it's possible on Liberation. Don't necessarily expect it on release because we won't spend a lot of time and delay the release just for a flamethrower. So we will try. We will see if we can do it ourselves, but it's really something hard to do. Even Periscope failed for now.
Yeah.
So when I say fail, I don't know really, but I believe they did because Nazi showed they tried. So yeah, it's not our priority. We will try for Liberation though.
That's fine. And yeah, you are right. I think it was one of their live blogs where they showed their attempts to make a flamethrower, and every flame acted as a bullet, and the more you shot it, it just slowly consumed the computer's processor, and it just crashed the game. So
yeah.
it's
That's why it will require a lot of time on our end to code and do a proper flamethrower, and we don't feel like delaying the mod just for this cool weapon is worth it.
yeah. It's going to be interesting as well because you mentioned the armor overhaul coming out, and I imagine, as you said, that throws a spanner in the works for you guys who you don't want to put something out that might then break, and then you got to go back and fix it. With the armor overhaul, that being said, my mind's going blank. It was the flamethrower tanks. Are they going to work differently to the normal tanks in terms of if they get shot, the tanker can explode where the fuel is, for example?
Maybe Lieutenant can answer this better than me on technical things.
We will thinking about this, but I can't promise anything. But I think yes, if we make this mechanics, we implement it, of course.
Okay, fair. There's one question I want to do as well. Is like, how are you guys coming up with the models? Like, obviously, we've heard from Periscope and how they send people out and they hire historians and they even have their own models. Where are you guys sourcing all the models for what you're creating, and also the sound effects as well?
About sound effects, I plan to record sounds for weapons. I mean, only infantry weapons in Moscow in this month. I hope. About models, we have a historian in our team. That's Mikhail Fomenko. He write 3 books about this battle. Um, he help us with references. If I don't wrong understand this question, and this is really helpful about models. Yes.
Yeah. So you've actually got someone who has the knowledge, he has the experience to tell you how something should look and how you should animate it. So yeah, that was
Yeah, we have an historian working with us.
I'm historian too, by my university. Yes.
Oh, well, that's fair. And
Technically, I did some of history as well, but more on the western part of the war.
okay, and you mentioned that you were going to get the sounds from the guns in Moscow. Is that a fire? Are you just going to a firing range? How does that work?
We have polygons under Moscow, so cause Russia it's big country,
Yeah.
and around our столица, как будет, секунду.
Pardon, what was that?
And close to our capital, we have many polygons to shoot.
Oh.
And we plan to go to polygon with hardware and with guns and record all of this.
Fair.
Yeah, because yeah, you have a better, easier access to weapons in Russia than in France. Obviously, for example. So there is still a lot of those weapons we will be using in the chapter red, which are still available today. So we can basically record the sound directly from the actual weapons.
I think that's a good thing a lot of people hear, because one of the major positives of Post Scriptum is how good the audio is for guns and tanks and stuff. So hear that you guys are actually using the actual guns that were used in the battle. I'm sure that's going to make a lot of people happy, knowing we're going to get the actual authentic, as close as possible sounds. So that's great. That's great to hear.
Yeah, and PS set the level really high on this, so
They really
Yeah.
did, yeah. Moving on then for that for now. I want to talk about these tanks. You mentioned tank people might be upset in June, but it's reasonable what you're doing. There's not going to be any hate there. What tanks can we expect in Chapter Red from both factions?
For Soviet factions, it's BA-10 Scout
for
car,
follow.
Scout armored car. That's KV-1. That's T-44. 34, yes. BT-7 and T-60 and OT-34. For Germans, that's Panzerjäger 1. But about Panzerjäger, guy who make it leave the team, but we still have sources. So I can promise that's been on release, but we're working on it. Yeah.
Fair,
So
fair. Yeah,
and
sorry,
we already
Alex.
have some models ready. So yeah, as you can see, there is the BA-10, which is exclusive for tonight because it wasn't posted yet.
It is.
So
Leak,
here you go,
guys.
guys, first leak. So yes, for now, the models that are ready are BT-7, BA-10. I think the T-34 needs texture, and there is another one that we'll show a bit later on this live, I think.
Ooh, that's a leak of the next one.
But yeah, we are already working on the models.
Okay, so for someone who isn't a war buff like me, can you explain to me what the BA-10 is? What am I looking at here?
That's scout car with tank gun. I think like British armored cars in Post Scriptum.
Okay.
But I think little lighter than they.
And I assume, by the way it looks, this is going to be for the Russians. Am I correct?
Yeah. For Soviets.
Okay.
Yeah, it will be their light armored, basically.
Yeah.
And what kind of guns is this sporting? Is it going to be able to knock out other tanks? What's the deal with this?
I think that's the turret and the cannon of the BT-7, if I'm right. So that's gonna be a quite effective gun to kill German Panzer.
Yeah.
Nice. That sounds good. Because one of my favorite things is, well, used to be, was getting a Staghound or Daimler and just going tiger hunting. It used to be a thing. Maybe it'll come back with the armor overhaul. So how many people can this see? I'm going to assume it looks like 3 or 4?
Free people.
3 people. Awesome. Well, that looks great. And you also mentioned another leak that you got for me here now is the KV-1. Can you
yes,
a little bit of detail on that as well? This is the KV-1, guys. This is a new for tonight. It's a.
Do you want
leak.
to take it or
Anyone? Because I'm not a history nerd. I don't know any of this stuff.
To be honest, I don't understand the question.
Oh,
just to give details on KV-1? I'll be honest, I'm not an armored fan, so I don't know every details. Like for the little story, on my community, the 501, we have a lot of people who love tanks and everything, and I just showed them a very blurred image of this, and they tried to figure out which armored it was, and some guessed it was the KV-1, but they know so.
that's pretty impressive.
They were doing assumption and trying to find out which one it was, and it was funny.
That's pretty impressive, yeah.
So yeah, the KV-1 will be very effective. There is a story of.
Oh.
There
What just
there is
happened?
the story of the KV-1 that destroyed an entire German column of Panzer, and the crew just remained alive, and so that's to tell how it was armored and effective against German Panzer.
Let's say it's the literally the B1, but Russian.
Okay,
They
okay.
they basically did the same and have the same purpose. They are really hard to destroy, and they can literally destroy a lot of panzers by themselves alone if they play well. So
So are they kind of like the workhorse of what the Russian army would have in terms of tanks? Kind of like how the Americans had the Sherman?
no, I would say the T-34 is more on that role, because there was not that many KV-1 in service, I think, but they were really terrifying. And if I remember something that someone told me, a guy who play armor, the Tiger, the German Tiger was created to counter the KV models, the KV-1
Oh,
and KV-2 models,
I didn't know that.
to be able to fight them properly.
That's not completely true, but KV-1 that's a heavy tank. Germans and 1941 don't have really heavy tanks. Only Panzer III and 4. That's main tanks on German army on yes on Wehrmacht. And KV-1 be really hard target for the German tanks, but most of KV-1 been destroyed by artillery or by aviation. So that's tank really, как сказать, strong, but that's slow and needs support. But if it's supported by infantry or another tanks, it's really much of that. But but yes, he have many problems.
Okay.
Anyway,
So he's big, slow, but powerful and strong.
yeah, and hard to destroy
That's
because it have. Uh, 1 second.
yeah, no worries. What about
It's
uniforms?
basically
It have same size of armor and all sides. So that's why it's very slowly and have a problem with engine in real life. Because in German army, in Russian army, and other tanks have lower armor on sides or on behind. Because most of fight been most of shoots go to front armor, but KV-1 have all sides same armor, and that's a really hard target.
Okay.
yeah, it's 75 millimeters everywhere, basically.
Yeah.
That's pretty heavy. So one thing I've seen in this picture, it's got a canopy over it. Is that just to hide it for the screenshot, or is it some kind of camouflage that we're going to see in the tank in game? You see like the little cloth over the turret.
Turret that just not down. That's why we don't show it and
Ah,
cover it by cloth. Cloth turret about now not down. Now.
okay.
Yeah, it's as it says, it's work in progress still. So,
Yeah.
but it looks good. I must say, the clothes looks good.
Yeah.
Fair enough. One last thing I want to mention with the tanks then is when it comes to just the specifics of the tank, such as the maximum engine speed it can reach and how it handles. How are you sourcing that information? Are you just with your historians? Do you actually have tanks you can go visit and drive?
We use books because
Okay.
in Soviet army for each tank you have instruction. I think and like in any army, and now you can find it in internet. We use it for everything.
Okay, so you're actually sourcing the guide, the manufacturer's guide to get all this information. Again, I think that's good because what Post Scriptum has is a very passionate and historical community. So the fact that you're using the actual sources they had, I mean, that's just a good thing for everyone, I believe.
Yeah, and I know that for I know someone sent me one day someone who is really active in the community and known for his armor knowledge sent me ideas for how it could work well gameplay wise while still being realistic between T-34 and Panzer IV, for example, because we know On paper, it sounds kind of unbalanced for the German, and he sent me really something interesting, saying that it was possible for T-34 to be destroyed by a Panzer IV, and we could do something really good with it. So we also have the community which helps a bit on this. But yeah, on internet, basically you can find pretty reliable sources now, especially on those tanks which were famous, let's say it.
Okay, sounds good. Last question I've got then for tanks, and it's just to summarize. Can you just quickly summarize again what tanks we can see from both Germans and Russians in this mod?
So Germans, you will have
Take note, guys.
the 1940, 1941 tanks we already have in game, like
Okay.
the one you have in Chapter 2, plus possibly a Panzerjäger 1. And for Russian, you will have T-34 as heavy, BT-7 as medium, I'd say, KV-1 as heavy, T-60, and BA-10. So T-60 is still on work, and the others are either in low poly stage already or texturing.
Awesome, awesome. Moving away from tanks then, and I had someone ask in my chat about the uniforms. I'm going to flash up the uniforms now. Can you explain what uniform we're looking at on my screen right now? It is the crewman uniform. Who is this for, and what is it?
So that would be the uniforms for crewmen. So and tank commanders. So basically the uniforms for armored. So maybe you won't see those on release indeed on the first
Yeah,
map,
okay.
but maybe on Made Noe just a bit after. I think it's still work in progress as said. Wixo or either you want to add something?
Not really, because Dexter needs some more love, and we are waiting a bit for rigging, because tank gameplay for Russian will come after the first release, so we don't want to spend too much time on things that will be released after.
Oh yeah, and just precision because the boots seems a bit shiny and everything. The boots will be will receive some love.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what you have to expect as a uniform for for when you will play armored as Russian. So we hope you like it.
I mean, I like it.
And
So
yeah, more typos.
I'm going to assume, because everything else has been historical as possible so far, all your uniforms are going to be based on actual uniforms like the Russian and German armies use. Is that correct?
Yeah, it should be.
Awesome, awesome. Something that a lot of people don't mention is that every faction, not only do they have unique uniforms, but they also have unique animations, such as the running. So a German rifleman runs different to the American rifleman. Are we going to see something different with the Russians as well? Are they going to have some slight different running animations?
Okay, I can't say yes or no. I'll first finish all the weapon animation, vehicle animation. Then, if I have more time before the release, I consider to make new one. But the the one we actually have for uh, the British is kind of good. Same for the US.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And someone mentioned earlier, like the insignias on the uniforms you're going to be using are. So
Yes, this one.
yeah. Do you know where I'm going with this? Like the censorship and stuff. Are you just going to go all in and like, or are you going to make like a different mod for
I
different
think
regions?
we said it a bit on the other live, but I will repeat it because I think it's normal. We will apply censorship because, well, first because we don't want to have issues with Periscope.
Yeah.
Technically, it's a mod, so they are not responsible for the content we do, but we feel like it can backlash on them quickly. Imagine if we have success or anything. I think we think it can backlash and backfire on them, and also because they always let open the door of maybe make official content from modding community. And basically, if we add swastikas or things that are forbidden in some countries, we close that door for us. Like the door will be closed because of law and censorship in some countries. So we don't want to take the risk, and we don't feel it's something that is impactful on gameplay or that makes the game really better or worse. It's just a detail. Yes, it's kind of sad, but at the same time, well, it's like that in some countries, and we have to respect the fact that, well, some countries don't accept it.
Yeah, no, I think that's completely fair and reasonable. Moving away from that then, and just sticking with kind of the uniforms at the moment. So in the maps we've got from Periscope so far, it's not just classed as the German army and the British army. They've got actual regiment names. Are we going to have some like historical regiment names for the layers that we're going to see in Chapter Red?
Yes, I think Lieutenant can say better than me which was the Soviet regiment fighting in Kalinin at that time. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but yes, I think we will have the right names and probably the right insignias if we can.
Okay. Lieutenant, feel free to add more to that if you wish.
Nope. In Kalinin, that's infantry divisions, Soviets, so that's nothing special. That's 26-я стрелковая дивизия и 5-я стрелковая дивизия. That's simple, that's just regular forces of Soviet army. That's artillery, that's light vehicle, that's infantry. That's all.
So that's why you won't see tanks also on the first map, because basically it wasn't the a regiment with tanks, which was in Kalinin at that moment in October.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I've just pulled up the other uniform you sent me here, and can you explain what? It's very much a work in progress. It says infantry uniform. Who is this for, and is it for a specific role? What's the details behind it?
That's if we talk about only uniforms, that's for infantry. That's for infantry squads. That's overcoat and boots, and inside you can see. No, here you can't see. That's a winter uniform behind overcoat. About gears at uniform, that's be unique for any class. So we randomize classes by another helmets, another stuff at another equipment. Yes, but for sappers, for logic squad, we have another uniform.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was already showed the other uniform. Oh, maybe not. I'm not sure. But yeah, we have another uniform which we won't have for this live tonight. Yes, it was showed already. If you scroll up in the announcement on our Discord, you can find the uniform which will be for logistics and sappers probably. So the one you have here is for now kind of generic without all the details for every classes, but it gives you an idea of what it will look like at least.
It looks awesome, I gotta say. And
yeah, just to add something for the German ones, they will have different of the one they have currently in game, of course, because it's Eastern Front, so it's colder. So obviously the uniforms were not the same, but as you know, there is Chapter 4 coming,
took
and
the question out my mouth.
I think we know what it is now, and
Battle of the
so
Bulge.
the German will have a winter uniform, probably, we expect at least, so it can save us a lot of time and work if we have access to it, if the Chapter 4 releases before the mod. So we don't know, but we hope.
I mean, you took the question out of my mouth. I was literally about to ask that. I was going to say, are we going to see unique German uniforms? You mentioned it's winter. Are we going to see like winter camouflage and stuff like that? So I assume that's a yes from what you just said.
Yes, so it won't require as much work as building an entire faction, but yes, we will have to redesign a bit the Germans, of course, to fit the Eastern Front.
To be honest, we're waiting for Chapter 4 to use German winter uniform because it's the same at 1941 and 1944. but we anyway customize a German vehicle and soldiers for Eastern Front.
Okay, fair. While we're on the infantry and the roles and the uniforms, you've actually sent me over a list of what the equipment every role is going to get. Am I able to show that now? I think that's a good part to move on to.
Yeah, go ahead. I know people want this. What will be their gears and equipment. Just a quick disclaimer, what you see there, and I say it is a first iteration, so it can change, and that's things that will change when we will be able to put our hands on the mod and test it on gameplay.
Make him say the names.
So yes, probably you will see things added or removed from classes for balance issue or just because it's not logical. So yeah, I see a lot of people want our leader to say the names in Russian. So if he wants to say it, he will say. So just to quickly say, the class name will be like in current games for German faction. You notice that the special classes and classes had their names in German, and it would be the same with our mod. The names will be in Russian. So here are the translation, and so we will stick to that. And you will pick your class with what you see on your screen, like the weapons form and shadow, if you don't understand Russian. But yes, so here you have a translation of it. You have both in Russian and in the English name.
I like that. So let's run down them one by one then, starting with the squad leader. How do you say that in Russian, Lieutenant?
Командир отделения.
I like it. You need to be the announcer in this mod. I hope you are. I want you to shout things at us over the radios. So they get...
That's one little moment. I voice Soviet side at Gates of Hell, and that's at open beta stage in Steam, and you can hear me at this game.
Nice. Well, let's talk about the squad leader then. It's very similar to the other factions. You get a choice of 3 weapons.
Yeah, so you will have the choice between the AVT 40, which is basically the improvement of SVT 40, or you can take the PPD 40 or a good old Mosin if you prefer to have a rifle. In secondary, you will have the choice between the. You will not have the choice. You will have Nagant Revolver or SVT Bayonet if you have the SVT, of course, the AVT. For grenades, you will have 2 LGD-33, which are the frag grenades, and 2 M1917 grenades, which are basically gas grenades. So one important thing, because I see people coming with, Russian have a lot of semi-auto or automatic rifles. Yes, but as every faction in the game, they have their playstyle and drawbacks, and one of the main drawbacks of the faction is they won't have smoke grenades. At least in the equipment, you can see their smoke are replaced with the M1917, which will work kind of like the phosphorus grenade, but without that much smoke. It will deal damage over time more than anything else. So yeah, it's better to have weapons to make kind of better suppression.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and we're basing this on the historical context. Every faction had their strengths and weaknesses, so it makes sense. The current factions in the game have strengths and weaknesses, so we'll have to see how it plays out in game and what the teams decide is the best strategy to implement.
And that's will kind of force the faction to do charges and to move forward and have a very aggressive gameplay compared to other faction, I feel.
Okay.
It's my thought. I still have to test it in game, but I feel like it will look like this, like an aggressive faction.
Perfect. Well, 2 things before we move on to the next thing. The PPD 40, what is the magazine on that size? What can we expect?
It will be the drum magazine for PPD.
Is that like 75 bullets or something like that, right?
71.
71. That sounds amazing. That reminds me of Call of Duty World at War. I've got to say I'm excited for that. And the other thing was the grass grenades. You mentioned they work a little bit like woolly, the British smoke grenades, and they're going to do damage over time. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
will you be able to see the gas, or is it something that you're not going to be able to see as the enemy?
Well, to make sense, you would say, I would say, realistically, you should not be able to see it, but for obvious gameplay reasons, I think we will add an effect on it, because it's literally unplayable if you can't see it, and frustrating at the same time. And you imagine you die
Yeah.
from damage over time, you don't even know from
Yeah.
what. So yeah, it will have an effect. Not something doing smoke like a phosphorus grenade, but a bit of fog, I'd say, or something like that. Something, something that won't actually cover your position and blind the enemy, but something you'll be able to see and say, oh, I shouldn't go there, it's gas and it's toxic and I will die.
Yeah. So it's sticking to the historical, but you've also got to make it fun for the game. So that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Moving on to the machine gun, then. How do you say that?
Пулеметчик.
Man, I love these names. And again, similar to like the Germans, you get a choice of 2 MGs.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the deploy system. That is a bane to most MGs in the game. Have you been able to figure that out?
That's been like Bren, so you can shoot at hands, don't place it to bipod, and shoot and scope it, and able to shoot from bipod. So that's a light machine gun. That's much lighter than MG. MG is 34. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Radio Man. How do you say Radio Man?
Radist.
Cool. And I can see very similar to how other factions work. They get the SVT-40. What kind of gun is that?
Automatic rifle.
Okay, so like the German, I can't pronounce the German one. The Guava.
Yes, Gever is copy of SVT. I mean, not Gever 31, but Gever 33. That's they try to copy SVT because they like it system.
Okay, awesome. Rifleman. You say that.
Стрелок.
Strelok. Okay, and something interesting that I can see secondary weapon shovel. What's going on?
Yeah.
Soviets don't have bayonets for can use by hands because Mosin bayonet can be used only on rifle. So Soviet soldiers in close fight by shovels, and that's much more effective than bayonets, to be honest.
So that's basically the knife of the Soviet faction. It will be the
but
shovel.
little more range and damage.
Awesome, awesome. Will everyone be able to use the shovel on the Russian army?
Everyone who have shovel, yes.
Awesome, awesome. Sapper. How do we say that?
Sapper.
Oh, pretty same then. Awesome. And the explosive charge of the sapper, is that going to work how other factions work? You just place it on the ground, run away, big boom?
Yep.
Yeah, classic sapper gameplay. And
Awesome.
RPG 40 grenades are basically the AT grenades. You can think it's like
Yeah,
in game,
that's cumulative grenades.
I can bring up the grenades, yeah, in the Discord. I think you posted them before, didn't you?
Yeah, I can send it
Somewhere,
to you
yes.
if you want.
Yeah, if you want to send it to me, I'll just hide my screen quickly to not leak any DMs.
Yeah, just give me a second.
Yeah, no rush. I'll have a look at chat then and see if I can pull some questions from chat quickly while we get them across. I just closed my chat. I just closed chat. Are you kidding me?
And there you go.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
That's an old one, so the background is not the same that on the other leaks.
Hickel asked, I don't know how to pronounce this. He asked it a while ago. Will the Soviet faction have the Katjuska BM-30-16?
Katyusha. Yes, we will be have a Katyusha, but for liberation. For first 2 maps, Soviets don't have it real history, so they don't have it in game.
Awesome. So I've got the grenade on the screen. Which grenade is this?
So this is the
RPG 40.
the AT grenade of the sapper and some of the AT kits as well. I think they have.
Ah, okay. So this is what you're going to be chasing after tanks, throwing at tanks with. Okay, cool. I'm loading up the other infantry kits. So the other infantry kits, we've got 80 rifle kit and 80 rifle kit PTSR. What's going on here?
This is AT rifles. That's full name of this class. Стрелок с противотанковой винтовкой, но but for games that's shortly, or for documents that's ПТ-стрелок с ПТРД или ПТ-стрелок с ПТРС. PTRD that's automatic rifle.
Okay.
Yes, automatic. Guys, I'm correct. Automatic rifle, yes?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's automatic rifle.
Yeah, that's automatic rifle, but AT rifle with 5 rounds, and PTRS that's AT rifle, but with only 1 bullet, like AT rifles at chapter 2.
Like the French boys rifle. That's how
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Like you have
Okay.
to reload every time, and PTRS on the, I think PTRS, right? I always mess up with the other. There is one you can shoot, and you don't have to reload in between bullets. It's basically automatic. It's kind of like it's kind of funny. I love to watch. You can find videos of someone shooting it on the internet, I think, and it's kind of funny when you look at it.
So from these rifles, how are they going to work with the team? Are we going to have, you can only have one per squad, or can you have a chance to get 2 of these in a squad?
2 PTRD per team, and PTRS at any squad, 1.
Awesome, cool. And I assume they're going to be great at knocking out tanks and vehicles. That's going to be their main job.
Yes, of course.
Yes, and that's we'll see with the armor overall if it works better than
Yeah,
than the chapter
currently.
2, of course.
Okay, medic then. How do we say the medic?
Sanitar.
Okay, and I can see it's got a Mosin carbine. What's the difference between that and the other Mosin?
Just short motion.
Ah, okay. Simple.
Yeah, it's like the model. It's a shorter version of the Mosin.
Awesome. And then marksman.
Sniper.
Okay, and I can see it says Mosin SH silencer. Oh, have we got silent snipers?
Yeah, so it's have a silencer and snipers and sniper rifles and revolvers and use it. Many in first year so far, but then lose everything. Not everything, but many been lost. Yes, it's silencer for Mosin that's been like rifle grenades, so that's different. In games that's been realized making like different rifle with different ammo, so we can give 20 ammo for silencer, because that's not that's special ammo to shot with silencer. So that's slow ammo. So I think that's been balanced, and that's interesting feature for game.
It's definitely brings a different aspect to marksman, because how we've seen marksman in the past is they have a hard role to fit. It's like, why would you take a marksman when you could take a sapper to go blow up tanks and stuff? But with giving the marksman a silencer, kind of makes them more of like a infiltrator, get behind enemy lines and cause chaos kind of role. So
yeah, because imagine you can't hear it like you would hear actual marksman in current game. With the silencer, it will be more like the death from you don't know where exactly it came.
yeah, I can already imagine the infantry screaming about there's a sniper somewhere. I can already hear the screams. Moving on then, light mortar. How do we say that?
Минометчик.
Okay, and how are the mortars going to work? Are the hand mortars going to work very similar to how we've got them in the game currently?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
It's the same. And the same, you can find the model of the mortar on our Discord, I think.
Yeah.
And that's interesting, but we are first guys who make this mortar 3D model.
Really? What, in
Yeah.
any game?
Yeah, because that's really rare mortar. We find only a few references all everywhere where we can find.
That's pretty cool. And I assume you mentioned earlier that the Russians are going to have a lack of smoke. When it comes to mortars, Are they going to have smokes, or is it just going to be explosive?
What?
For smokes, do they have smoke
Yeah, of
ammunitions?
course.
Okay, cool. The last role I've got here then is the specific roles, such as the tank commander and the crewman. So, how do we say those?
Командир танка и танкист.
Awesome.
Командир танка is tank commander, tankist is crewman.
Awesome. I don't see a shovel for them. Are they going to be able to use the repair tool as a weapon? Please tell me I can hit someone with a spanner.
Not sure, but I think we just forgot write that.
Yeah, I added some shovels somewhere. I probably forgot to add it for crewman and tank commander, but yeah, first iteration and everything. But yeah, it wouldn't make sense if they don't have. The tank commander won't have probably, or maybe they have. They have in actual game. I think they added it. But basically, for shovels and syringe, as you can see on the bottom, it will be the same than in the current game. Maybe
Okay.
the MG will have shovel. I think we saw on our mod, but everything else about ammo boxes for the rifleman, it's not in there, but it will be the same. Syringe for everyone and shovels. That's why it's not necessarily in the board, because it's basic thing that you will mostly have. So yeah, it's not here, but you will have shovels.
Okay. The last three is the logistics roles. So they look very similar to how we have logistics in the game currently for the other factions. So, Lieutenant, if you just want to run down the names of them, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's simple. In Soviet army, we don't have special logic squads, so that squad been a sapper squad. Командир отряда саперов, сапер и сапер-подрывник.
Awesome. I think that covers all the roles currently in the game then. It looks really interesting, and it's good to hear about the balance that you've got in mind, taking that into account that you're doing it historical, but there's also some tweaks just to make it fun gameplay-wise, such as the grass grenades. I might have been blind. I didn't see the Russian commander role. Is there any information on that?
We just forgot about it.
No, it's not. It's not done yet. Let's say it's not. We didn't really settle, but expect probably a PPD 40 like in game, or choice between PPD and Mosin. It's just not in the board yet, but it will be kind of the same of what you can see in game. So expect automatic choice between a commander with automatic rifle or Mosin, a classic rifle with also support. I think for aerial support airstrike, you will have I-16 plane for strikes. And yeah, someone was asking about Katyusha for commander. I think it's planned for the first map.
No. That's planned
not the first. That's later. Yeah.
for
Yes.
liberation. For
But
first
yeah.
part, we have classic artillery, истребители как бы, fighters and bombers. For fighters it's E16, for bombers it's PA3, and for artillery that's be RT guns at I forgot that caliber. I forgot how to say that in English. I just will write. Wait 1 second, please.
No worries.
But yeah, you will have all the for the first map. It will be kind of the same.
76.
Just the models of the planes and caliber which will change, but you will have the same that like in game right now. And yeah, from Liberation you have Katyushas for Commander Core. Yeah, a lot of people ask about what about playing Katyushas in game. Well, as you know, Katyushas after shooting took some time to reload, so it's not really funny to play. Let's say it. It's funny to throw the thing, but a bit overpowered if you are a player and shoot it. You can also do. Imagine a troller coming. He can troll his team by literally making a lot of TKs by firing this wrong. And yeah, it's not really funny as a vehicle because yeah, you shoot once and then you have to reload for I don't know how much time, but long.
But we thinking about, but can promise, but we think about BM 11.8 with a lower caliber to make it usable by people. But we still thinking about this. That's been like in squads. That's a light gun with light car uh, with I forgot this word. Damn.
Yeah, we were thinking about adding a variation of it, which was on a car. Basically, it was a light version of the Katyusha.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of people asking if we can play it, and as there is a lot of requests, well, we are thinking about how we could add something like a Katyusha's in game that people could have fun with.
Awesome, awesome. I'm going to snipe this question from chat quickly. Are the Soviets going to get their own radio sounds?
Yes.
Good.
Конечно.
Good. I was tired of being the British and hearing the German radio. It's been a long time. Another quick question would be: is the commander getting a unique uniform?
If we have time, because uniform take a lot of time, and I can't promise we have a unique uniform for commander at release.
Okay. Okay.
Oh
Good.
yes, just quick thing for the artillery caliber, because the leader sent me. It's 120 millimeters.
Okay. That's big. That's big from what I
That's big.
understand. Very big. Moving on then is are we going to see any unique mechanics? Obviously, we're going to get the flamethrower tank and stuff like that. I'm talking about, for example, Chapter 3, where we got the added invasion game mode, and also we saw the D-Day with the naval invasions. Is there anything planned like that for Chapter Red? Anything unique in terms of game modes or spawn points?
On spawn point, we plan to make a train arriving reinforcements on the second point at first map, because that's been like in real. Because when Soviet soldiers fight and fall back, a train with reinforcements come to train station and they break Germans back.
That instantly I'm getting visions of, is it behind enemy lines with the sniper, the dude who snipes at the beginning, and they get thrown out the train and they have to push into Stalingrad. I think that gives me visions of that.
That's little Northern, because that's been veterans divisions and they go to fight with rifles, not only with ammo.
Fair. That's cool to hear though. Moving on again, and it's, what is your vision for this mod in terms of this end game goal? Like, is there a point what you're trying to achieve, and when you reach that, you say, "Okay, we're done. We've done our job. We're going to move on to the next project."
I hope. So if we success with this, I hope if we can try be part of the main game, we continue working and you can see the future on roadmap. We plan to make a European theater and Korean theater and Chinese. So because that's interesting battles, and everyone forgot about this. I mean, in games, in films, but it's really fantastic stories.
Yeah, it's, and that's one thing I like about Post Scriptum, how for Chapter 1, for example, we didn't really see Operation Market Garden in a video game yet. So it definitely is an appeal. And the other mod team is also working on theaters we don't see, with the Shifting Sands and the Chapter Mercury. So that's going to be cool.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. It's how we want the mod to be. Like when you think Eastern Front, you instantly think of Stalingrad or things like that. But in our opinion, Stalingrad wouldn't look that great first, because it's only 80 versus 40 versus 40. If it was 80 versus 80, gosh, that would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's 40 versus 40, so it wouldn't look that great, and it wouldn't depict well what Stalingrad was. And we prefer to show people what is not on other games, like Kalinin, like Mednoe, like other theaters that.
But that a little funny, because Kalinin, that's just another town at Volga, like a Stalingrad. That's a little same story, but more short battle on Kalinin. and not too bloody like Stalingrad.
All right.
Yeah,
But
same
generally,
vibes.
that's that same facts.
Same vibes, but on smaller scale and yeah, more original. And yes, well, basically our collective has the project. If you take it as a globality, is bigger than just Kalinin, Mednoe, and 1941 year. It's basically every year and with different theaters. And so yeah, overall that's big one. Um, Obviously, for the other parts, it should be shorter in terms of development because the faction is already done. Some weapons are, so after that, it's adding, new weapons, new animations, but overall, some things will already be done. So it should be faster. That's why you have, for example, the ETA of the first map in June and the others in the summer because it's mostly map design and
Yeah.
after that it's tank rigging and make sure tanks works, but most of the faction and things will be already done, so that should go faster after the first release.
Awesome, awesome. And I know it might be early days yet, but is there any information you're willing to share on the European Fortress and Fall of the Samurai?
About European Fortress, we want something like Kaliningrad, that's Königsberg, and Budapest, Vienna, and maybe Berlin part. For Fall of the Samurai, we want to show Korean theater because it's no one knows this, but like 500,000 Japanese soldiers surrender in Korean because that's break by Soviet forces, and that's really interesting. That's really hot battles.
Yeah.
But and we planned. No one know, but Soviet Marines deployed to the Islands too, like American guys. That's interesting. We want to make this. We want to show this. Uh, so I can't say about now about places because I forgot names because it's China names. It's a little hard for me to remind it every time.
Yeah, it's all
But
right.
that's ports, that's towns, and that's tank battles too. But it's not really interesting tank battles because Japanese have really strange tanks.
Yeah, that is interesting. I honestly I didn't know about the whole career to myself, so it's definitely another thing that's going to be appealing. In I know it's going to be probably a while away yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. And good luck in those future projects, definitely. And yeah, you did mention Budapest in the European Fortress. Is that right? I just have someone asking in chat.
Yeah, I
What?
think he said
Yeah,
Budapest.
yeah.
Budapest, Vienna, and Berlin. Am I correct?
Yep. And Berlin is Budapest and Vienna. I said it was nearly sure, and Berlin something we were looking at
Okay.
because there is a lot of request on that one as well.
Okay, awesome, awesome. My next question was going to be about the timeline of this mod, but you've already put it here for us. So after you've done Liberation, is there going to be a progress where you go back and you tweak things, maybe add extra content, or once Liberation is out and you've done the majority, are you like finished at that point, or will you continually add to this mod?
Only if we have really important things. If everything working, we don't add new content to the first chapter. But if something's not working, or I don't know, if we don't make flamethrowers, but then we can make it, we add it. But if everything work, everything done, we don't back to the first chapter.
Yeah. So basically, after Liberation, the 1941 chapter is over, and we move on to the next one. And yeah, so if we see that, like he said, flamethrower can be added and wasn't before, we will add it. But otherwise, don't expect more content, I would say. Or new layers don't require that much time, so we'll see. But I think with the SDK, people can pretty much do the layer they want once they have access to the maps. But yeah, so after it's done, if there is no bugs or bad things, we move on and we do the next one and so on.
Awesome, awesome. One question I'm just going to snap again from chat. Are you going to do like a open playtest, an open beta that you invite people to come test things out on?
We plan it. Of course, we have problems with big map. I mean, Kalinin map. So if we don't finish it at June, we start playtest at what we have, because we already have everything for faction, and we start test on test maps, on maybe on unfinished maps,
VOD will be
to
saved,
test
yeah.
the Soviet faction and test new systems and test everything what we done already, because it's a huge content and we need to test everything and find all issues. Issues. Yes, and that's what we plan. And about playtest, we already have a little test map for testing. When we done all animations and all uniform, we start a playtest, maybe closed, maybe opened. I don't know for now, but yeah, that will be soon, I hope.
Awesome, awesome. And before, there's a few viewer questions. I'm just going to ask the last question I've got wrote down, and it's you mentioned this a little bit earlier on in the interview, and it's for those who want to support this mod, how can they help you guys make this mod the best it can be?
I don't know. Learn map design and join us, I think.
Yeah, for now, I mean, a lot of people have been supporting us for a year, and thanks for that again, because I mean, already like supporting us and showing us your support and you're waiting the mod, it means a lot for us. Like we continue because we see people are hyped and want to see that mod coming. So that helps a lot. And yes, if you have if you think you have the capacity or for level design or anything you can bring to the mod in terms of development, yeah, level design, animation, I think we are lacking of animators as well. Wixo can confirm, I suppose.
Yeah, we need a lot of animators.
Because he is our only one animator, I think, and imagine he has to do pretty much all the weapons and things like that. So yeah, if you know, if you're good at animation or level design, mostly just DM me or Wixo. I guess it's fine as well.
Or me. I
Or
try
you,
to
yeah.
answer you.
And we'll see if we hire you. But yeah, basically that's the best way you can help us if you want to go further than just cheering us up. And yeah.
Fair, fair.
And if we do open playtest, of course, we will need. There is a point when we will need to try a full game, 40 versus 40, to see if everything works fine. Because, well, as Nazi always said, there are some bugs that happens. The periscope effects only happens when you are full server.
Yeah, true, true. That was my last question, guys. I do have some viewer questions that I wrote down, so I'm just going to fire through them. Merv asked, "Will there be will it be possible to see fins in the future in this mod?"
Fins?
Yeah, the Finnish front.
I don't think so, because we already have Talvisota mod for the Rising Storm 2. And we don't make double. I don't know how to write in English. So we already have Talvisota. So why we need to do this? Because we don't have a Kalinin, we don't have European battles, but we have Talvisota. So that's why we don't plan to finish. But if some modders want to make a finish, we can help with this. But main part of team don't do this.
That's fair. That's fair. I can't pronounce this guy's name. He's got a German name. He just wants to know again what tanks are we going to see in the mod.
KV1, T34, BT7, BA10, T60, Panzerjäger 1. That's all.
Awesome, awesome.
And maybe KV2, maybe, but not sure.
Maybe KV2. Awesome. Airstrike 24 asks, will infantry be able to ride on top of the tanks?
We will want add this, but I can't promise that. But if we can do this, we do this. But we, you understand me, okay?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
That's the kind of mechanic we we are looking at it into it, but we won't spend time before release, a lot of time. That's the kind of thing we will look at after release, I think, because otherwise we will delay the release just more to try to do things that are good for gameplay in the end, but not necessary. But yeah, if we can, like the flamethrower, if we can, we will.
Awesome, awesome.
The famous potentially, but not right now.
And the final question came from Yed Rello. He's an Australian player. He asks, how do you envision the Russian game style to play compared to other factions? Chat, if you have any more questions, put your questions in chat now.
Well, when we were on the class preview, that's something we will figure out while playing it as well. But it's designed to be a kind of aggressive faction. Because you don't have smokes on regular person, you will need mortars or commander strikes to have it. You will have to constantly push forward or do suppression. So you will use a lot your weapons to move forward. So yeah, I feel like it will be the kind of array Ura
Hoorah.
faction, like you charge forward and you never stop. And I think that it's how the faction will play. Also because with the shovel you can have very effective melee weapon. You can rush the enemy and go in melee and win. So yeah, for me, but that's my opinion. It's how I would play it: aggressive, constantly pushing, and never letting the enemy sleep or never letting any any frame for the
Yeah,
enemy.
we plan maps too, much more aggressive tactics at map. And I see question at chat, will maps be one-to-one scale relative to their real life locations? About that, I can say we little optimize real town because it's not really interesting to game. But main buildings, main interesting parts, been in same places, and I mean, plan town plan still like in real, but somewhere we make more buildings, some we make lower buildings, not lower, lower. 1 second.
Details, I think you want to say, like less details inside or on the buildings.
I understand, yeah.
So yeah, mostly
No,
because
no. I mean numbers of buildings. Like if
yeah.
somewhere we have tons of little houses, and that's not interesting because you just can't clear all of it.
That's also
Uh,
for
yeah,
optimization
it's
as
whole
well.
dive,
Yeah.
and that's not only for optimization's performance, but for optimization's game process. I mean gameplay.
It's
But
basically
yeah, but town be we try must be accurate at town map. Shit. Wait a second, please.
You basically don't want a repeat of Chapter 3 when that came out, where it was horribly optimized.
yeah. Well, it's what I was about to say. It's Carentan. It's the best example because Kalinin will be bigger than Carentan in terms of town, so we want to make sure we won't have the same issues. And hope good thing for us, we know what causes Carentan lack of optimization. It was too many open buildings with too many details inside, which was shredding your FPS while near the town center. So we don't want to repeat the same mistake, and that's why we will be realistic on some areas. For example, near the palace of Kalinin. But when it's not necessary, we won't put too many houses or too many open ones at least. So it will optimize the area and it should not make the quarantine effect.
Perfect. I've got a couple of questions from chat. I'm just gonna.
Oh yeah, and because the leader just translated. We try to preserve the overall layout of the city, and at the same time finding a good in between
That makes
of what it was and to make sure it's working, because a beautiful city with 5 FPS makes nonsense for a game like Post Scriptum.
makes sense. Basically, what Rockstar does with GTA, they create San Andreas, but they scale it down, but keep all the main aspects of the city, so you know what it is. Basically, like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Awesome. I'll quickly get these questions in from chat. This is a good one. What new development asset are you guys most proud of so far?
Maybe the leader can answer it better than me, because they are the one who develop it.
I don't know every asset. That's hard to say. I think that's personal for our person of our team. But I mostly like Mortar.
The Mortar does sound like a pretty. You're the first guys to do it. That does sound pretty cool. A question here. It's been asked again. German tanks. What new German tanks are we going to see?
Panzerjäger 1, Panzerjäger 1.
And we also want to put Panzer 3 with the 50 millimeters cannon that was on the Eastern Front.
Awesome. Will there be Molotov cocktails?
Yes.
That's been in new grenade system, so AT grenade system. We want to make placeable grenade crates by Logi Squad with Molotovs and IT grenades. So every class, every person, I don't know how, every soldier can take one AT grenade or Molotov and throw it, or die take new. But that's need to place some on points to take. Yes, by Logi Squad.
It's a new system that mod will add, that it's not currently in the game. Special ammo crates with special things. Like, you won't have Molotovs on the normal class, but you will be able to pick some and throw it and use it. Some people were asking about, will it affect tanks? I have this question a lot, especially engines, for example. Maybe. We don't know yet. We will see. Especially with the ammo overhaul, we
tank
can't say
overhaul,
a
yeah.
lot because everything will change on that side. So maybe it would make sense, and we'll see.
Awesome. One guy is asking, do you take donations to support like a Patreon or something?
Not for now. Maybe later. Maybe not.
Awesome.
Yeah, not for now.
One guy's quickly asking, are the battles again? Can you just quickly like run down what battles we're gonna see?
Yeah, so for now confirmed and coming soon, it's the Kalinin battle from October to December 1941. So you will have the first map, Last Stand, in October 1941 and Liberation in December 1941. And the other is Battle of Mednoy, which was basically more open field map for tank and armored gameplay, while Kalinin is more urban map, more like more like, it's not a good example, but more like Harlem, but with more bridges. Don't worry, there is more than one bridges.
Perfect.
So there is bridges though. You can see on the but on our Discord you have the palace and you see a bridge on the background. So, but you have several, so that will be fine on that side. No Arnhem PTSD.
Awesome. One question I missed: will you be doing interiors for the tanks?
This one. I was pretty sure someone would ask it.
I can promise, but we think about this. But we will try, but I can't promise.
We're looking into it, yeah. But yeah, same as some other features, same as the flamethrowers. We are interested, we want, but we are looking into it to see if it's something we can do, how much time it will take, if it's what's the impact on performances and gameplay and everything, you know.
Yeah. Awesome. The last question is, will Kalinin have a drivable tractor to be found?
Yes.
Awesome. I think that was it, guys. I appreciate you taking time to join me. I hope that answered a lot of questions from the community, and thank you for your time and showing some new stuff on stream. I'd love to have you again in the future, and maybe when the maps are closer to ready, we can like have a little tour around it. If you guys would be up for that.
Yeah, of course. Well, at the moment I can put my foot on the map, I will. I will be probably the first one with the with the guys putting my
Yeah.
foot on it, and yeah, I will probably organize something with you and some other streamers, people, to just make a tour. Maybe also PS Devs, Snazzy, or well, some guests to take a sneak peek, a first look at the map.
That would be awesome. Is there anything you guys want to add here at the end?
Repeat, please. I had a headphone problem.
Is there anything you guys want to add here at the end to the people watching?
Guys,
For me,
wait a second. I need to translate. Like, so if you have something to say that now.
If you want to start modding, just doing right now. It's easy, but you need to learn things. So don't be afraid of learning.
yeah, like personally, I don't dev, I don't animate, and I don't have the SDK for technical reasons. But modding is quite an adventure. Even if you do only communication around it, like me, it's something, and you can help even a little. I think everyone has something to. If you have the energy, you can always bring something to a project like this. Um, Animating, level designing, or simply throwing ideas here and there, or like me, putting everything in a good looking document to show it to people, to explain to people. Yeah,
Awesome.
don't be afraid. Even if it sounds like big project, like Chapter Red was a huge project on paper, and it still is. And well, let's be honest, when the SDK wasn't out, we were still doing models and everything without even knowing if we could achieve the project one day, because the SDK wasn't even a thing. It wasn't released, but hey, here we are today, and maybe in a few, I hope, and I'm sure in a few months you will be able to put your foot on that map. So yeah, I mean, try it. You have nothing. In our case, as modders, we have nothing to lose except time. But hey, at least you can show people what you are capable of.
Exactly, and you never know; it might lead to a full-on profession. I think that's the best way to get into game design at this point, is by being a
Yeah.
modder and creating assets for a game or game modes. So yeah,
And yeah, it currently in the video game industry, you have a lot of people who wants to be game designer, for example, for small amount of places. So you have to show what you can do, and that kind of project is probably one of the best way for me, because you can show on something that is not professional, yes, of course, so you're not necessarily pay or things like that, but you can show your talent. And once you want to be hired in a company, you say, hey, I did this for a mod, the mod is high quality, and hey, see what I can do.
exactly. You have that portfolio behind you with the experience where they can see your skill set. Lieutenant, is there anything you wanted to add at the end?
I want to say thank you everyone who join our server, who write to us good words, because that's really important for me. That's really important, because when I see someone like what we make, what we do, that's real. I don't know. That's real bring my heart. So
Oh,
I love you guys, everyone who join, and I hope we don't we make a real interesting content for you, and you like that.
man, I'm sure that all the community at this point is behind you guys. We want to see the Russian front. I think a lot of the Russian community is waiting to see this mod as well. So I think the whole community is behind you, and they're willing to, be patient, help you where they can, and support you in any way they can as well. So you just keep doing the hard work. That's all we can say. Keep it up. Keep doing the
Yeah,
good work.
we will.
But that was it from me. Again, thank you for joining me, you three. It's been fun for me. I think chat has learned a lot as well. And I'm hoping again we can do this in the future when things moved along a bit further.
Yeah,
And,
of course, and thank you for hosting us. Thank for receiving us for this evening. And yeah, of course, we will do it again, I suppose. I hope. And we will have some things to say, I think, in the near future. And who knows, maybe a map preview.
Ooh, yeah, please get me in there. But thank you guys. You have a great evening. Carry on the good work. You're doing excellent. And I'll catch you next time.
Yeah, thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
And yeah, for those who want, I will post what you saw here tonight on
Yes.
our live Discord without pinging everyone. I will just post it on the announcement channel so you can see it by yourself as well.
Awesome. Bye, guys. I love you
До
all.
свидания. До свидания.
До свидания. Bye.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Chat. That was the Chapter Red mod team. You heard it from them. I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. I learned a lot.